They're doubling down on globalization when we're trying to correct for the problems of globalization. So those are two models that don't fit together very well.
Trump's own trade chief said it out loud, in front of Congress, on the record. Canada and the United States have two models, and they don't fit together very well. He meant it as a criticism, a description of a problem Washington needs to solve. Canada is doubling down on globalization, building trade agreements with more countries, deepening international partnerships, when Washington is trying to pull back from exactly that kind of integration. But here is what the United States Trade Representative did not say in front of Congress. Which model is actually working? So let's do the comparison he didn't do. Across 5 domains: investment, exports, alliances, defense, energy. America First versus Canada Strong. 5 scoreboards, 5 results, 1 conclusion. Scoreboard 1, investment. The most direct measure of whether the world trusts your model enough to put real money behind it. Here is what each model has produced.
This year, foreign direct investment into Canada is already at its highest level in nearly 2 decades. It's running at twice the rate on a per capita basis as our nearest G7 competitor. And we're just getting started.
Twice the rate, per capita, compared to every other major economy in the group of 7, including the United States. America First told the world that the United States was going to prioritize its own interests in every economic relationship, that trade deals would be evaluated purely on whether they delivered American jobs and American industrial advantage, that foreign investment was welcome only on American terms, that allies and trading partners would be treated as competitors unless they demonstrated specific value to the American economy. The investment community responded, not by flooding into the United States, by looking for alternatives, for stable, predictable, rules-based destinations where the terms of engagement would not change with a single social media post or a new tariff announcement. Canada offered exactly that, and the investment followed. 20-year high, twice the group of 7 per capita rate. Air Asia choosing Canadian aerospace over American alternatives. Panasonic and Japanese, Italian, and Luxembourg partners committing to the world's largest graphite mine in the group of 7. European defense companies deepening procurement partnerships. All of it arriving during the period of maximum American tariff pressure. Scoreboard 1, investment. Canada Strong is winning. Scoreboard 2, exports. The model that says close off and protect should be producing a surge in domestic production and reduced import dependence. The model that says open up and diversify should be producing new markets and growing export revenues. Here is what actually happened.
20 economic and security partnerships signed in the last year on 5 continents, pursuing major accords with India, ASEAN, Thailand, Philippines, Mercosur by the end of this year, things that normally take 10 years to negotiate. Our traditional partners, for example, Korea, with whom we do have a free trade agreement, deepening that across a range of domains, very much including energy security. Inbound calls now to develop this and to broaden it out for deeper partnership. Our overall objective is to double our non-U.S. exports this decade. That's over $300 billion in new orders for Canadian resources for goods and expertise.
$300 billion in new export orders targeted. Non-United States exports already rising sharply and tracking toward doubling this decade. America First was designed to reduce American trade deficits by making imports more expensive through tariffs and by renegotiating trade deals on more favorable terms. The theory was that protecting domestic industry from foreign competition would rebuild American manufacturing and reduce dependency on global supply chains. What actually happened is more complicated. American farmers lost access to retaliatory tariff markets in China, Europe, and Canada. American manufacturers who depend on imported inputs saw their costs rise. American consumers absorbed higher prices on goods ranging from steel to electronics to agricultural products. And American allies, facing the uncertainty of a trading partner willing to impose tariffs without warning, began building alternative relationships. Canada used that uncertainty as its primary export diversification tool. Every time Washington made itself less predictable, Canada became more attractive. 20 partnerships across 5 continents in less than 1 year. Free trade negotiations advancing simultaneously with India, the ASEAN bloc, Thailand, the Philippines, and Mercosur. Non-United States exports rising sharply. Scoreboard 2, exports. Canada Strong is winning. Scoreboard 3, alliances. The model that says go it alone and pressure allies should be producing a more compliant alliance network. The model that says build a dense web of partnerships should be producing more partners with more depth. Here is the result.
The middle powers must act together because if we're not at the table, we're on the menu. We're pursuing variable geometry. In other words, different coalitions for different issues based on common values and interests. So on Ukraine, we're a core member of the Coalition of the Willing and one of the largest per capita contributors to its defense and security. On Arctic sovereignty, we stand firmly with Greenland and Denmark. On plurilateral trade, we're championing efforts to build a bridge between the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the European Union, which would create a new trading bloc of 1.5 billion people.
1.5 billion people. That is the size of the trading bloc Canada is working to create by bridging the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the European Union. Not a proposal, an active diplomatic project. America First told its allies that the transatlantic relationship was a bad deal for America, that NATO allies were free riders, that Greenland should be purchased or seized, that the European Union was a trade enemy, that the rules-based international order was a system that had taken advantage of American generosity. The alliance response was not compliance. It was diversification. Greenland and Denmark, facing American pressure, turned to Canada for Arctic security cooperation. The European Union deepened its defense procurement partnership with Canada, making it the only non-European member of that initiative. The Nordic countries built a joint security framework with Canada that operates independently of Washington's preferences. Middle powers across Asia and Latin America accelerated their economic partnerships with Canada in direct response to American unpredictability. America First produced a less cooperative alliance network. Canada Strong produced a denser and more diverse one. Scoreboard 3, alliances. Canada Strong is winning. Scoreboard 4, defense. The model that uses defense cooperation as a political lever should be producing strategic compliance from allies. The model that builds sovereign defense capability should be producing genuine security independence. Here is what each model delivered.
And to be clear, this strategic autonomy doesn't mean isolation. It means being strong enough to be a partner of choice rather than a dependent. It means building a domestic defense industrial base so we are never hostage to the decisions of others when it comes to our security. It means diversifying our partnerships so that we're resilient against any single point of failure. And that's why the build, partner, buy framework at the heart of this strategy matters so much. When we build at home, we develop our sovereign capabilities in aerospace, digital systems, naval construction, space. Those capabilities that ensure that Canada can defend itself under any circumstance.
Never hostage to the decisions of others. That commitment was made in February. The Pentagon's decision to pause the Permanent Joint Board on Defense in May proved why it was necessary. America First applied defense cooperation as a pressure tool. NATO spending targets became a lever for demanding political compliance rather than a genuine security framework. The pausing of an 86-year-old bilateral defense board was delivered by social media post in direct response to Carney's Davos speech. The F-35 purchase review became an irritant in a broader dispute about Canadian foreign policy independence. Canada's response was the most ambitious defense industrial investment in its history, 2.1% of gross domestic product NATO spending, confirmed by the NATO Secretary General as the first time Canada has met the target since the fall of the Berlin Wall. $470 billion in defense industrial strategy, redirecting procurement toward Canadian sovereign capability. 4 new northern operational support hubs under construction. Submarine program bids submitted with European allies. The European Union Defense Procurement Agreement, making Canada the only non-European member. America First used defense as leverage. Canada Strong built defense as sovereignty. The Permanent Joint Board on Defense pause was designed to pressure Canada into compliance. What it produced instead was a Canada more determined than ever to build the sovereign defense capability that makes such pressure less consequential. Scoreboard 4, Defense. Canada Strong is winning. Scoreboard 5, Energy. The model that says drill baby drill and sell to allies on American terms should be producing energy dominance. The model that says build sovereign energy infrastructure and access global markets should be producing energy independence. Here is the comparison.
And today, we are announcing a series of transformative initiatives that will help unlock the full potential of this vast region. We're moving forward with an ambitious new plan, backed by more than $40 billion of investments in Canada's North and Arctic. With this plan, we are taking control of our future. We will no longer rely on others to defend our Arctic security or to fuel our economy. And we are unleashing a range of new economic opportunities for the over 140,000 Northerners who will benefit from stronger, more connected communities, more opportunities, and a higher standard of living. We are masters in our own home.
Masters in our own home. That declaration from the Northwest Territories connects the energy scoreboard to the fundamental question the two models are answering differently. America First in energy means American producers selling American energy to American allies on terms favorable to American interests. It means pressuring Canada to align its China trade policy with American preferences as a condition for tariff relief. It means treating Canadian energy resources as inputs to American industrial strategy rather than sovereign Canadian assets. Canada Strong in energy means a pipeline to Asian markets carrying 1 million barrels per day of low-carbon Alberta oil that does not require American infrastructure, American permission, or American market access to function. It means the world's largest graphite mine in the Group of 7 breaking ground 6 months after being referred to the Major Projects Office. It means a national electricity strategy doubling Canada's grid. It means an Arctic energy sovereignty investment of $40 billion, connecting isolated communities and unlocking critical mineral resources. Trump flew to Beijing to try to sell American energy to China. Carney signed a pipeline deal in Calgary that will deliver Canadian energy to Asian markets starting in September 2027. One produced a state banquet with no concrete agreements. The other produced a construction start date. Scoreboard 5. Energy. Canada Strong is winning. 5 scoreboards, 5 domains, 1 conclusion. Investment. Canada Strong. Exports, Canada Strong. Alliances, Canada Strong. Defense, Canada Strong. Energy, Canada Strong. Jameson Greer sat in front of Congress and said Canada and the United States have two models that don't fit together very well. He was right, but he framed it as Canada's problem, as evidence that Canada needs to change its approach and align more closely with Washington's vision for the global economy. What the 5 scoreboards show is something different. The model that is producing results is not America First. It is Canada Strong. The model that is producing record investment, growing non-United States exports, a denser alliance network, genuine defense sovereignty, and energy infrastructure with specific construction dates is the one Washington's trade chief described as doubling down on globalization. And the model that produced an empty Beijing summit, a defense board pause that confirmed Carney's Davos argument, a tariff strategy that accelerated Canadian diversification rather than producing compliance, and a pipeline pressure campaign that ended with Alberta's premier campaigning for Canada is the one Washington calls America First. Two models. Greer was right. They don't fit together very well, but he got the winner wrong. Stay with this channel for every scoreboard update as this competition continues to unfold.